Welcome back. All right, so 9 games in the NHL tonight. All done. Shadow, as you can see, is all tuckered out from not doing much today. And Licorice is chill because I've told him he's staying down here tonight. I let the rabbit stay on the set overnight, which so far he's been pretty good. His sister, there's no chance. There's no chance. But he's pretty good. So, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I wish I could be as chill as he is. All right, this is why there's timestamps, people. You can just go ahead anytime you want and click around any of the games. Okay, so starting off with Ottawa in against Tampa Bay. And early on, this looked like Ottawa was going for the steal. It's Murray versus Vasilevsky. An early turnover ends up in the Tampa Bay net. It's Ennis from Shabbat and Connor Brown at 1 minute and 11 seconds. And that's the first shot of the game. Tipped in by Ennis. Not much of a chance on that one for Vasilevsky. Then at 3:43, sharp angle shot by Sanford goes in. Yep. And that was the second shot of the game for Ottawa. So it looked like maybe Vasilevsky was going to have an off night. That would be incorrect. And that one, that's the second shot. Tampa Bay didn't have any yet, but they would wind it up. So the Bolts nearly answered. The Sens cleared out. In fact, the shots are 5-1 for the Sens at 6 minutes. They're doing very well, playing a good road game, and then it starts. Kucherov scores on a net drive with the second shot of the game for Tampa from point at 7:15. So that makes it 2-1 in the game. And then shortly after that goes in, Tkachuk and Perry decide they don't like each other very much. Makes sense. They're both agitators. So they get 2 minutes in the box. We have 4-on-4 for those 2 minutes. Holden fires one wide as the Senators press. The Bolts then press with 8 minutes left, and eventually Tampa ties it. It's point from Palat and Ruda at 14:49. It was a 3-on-2 goal, and he wired it. The Bolts get a power play. That's killed off, but in the final 9.5 minutes of the period, the Senators are held to 0 shots. So that fast start, kind of forgotten. Second period, Josh Brown has a chance saved as the Sens rush. There's scrums on whistles in this game, too. It's pretty common. There's a lot of dislike between these teams. This is, the fourth time they've met each other. Josh Brown versus Maroon goes on, and there was other fights going on, too, so there was a lot. Bolts come out of it with a power play. Stamkos has a blast that's a near miss. He doesn't miss the next time. He scores on the power play at 5:18 from Kucherov and point. And then the Bolts go back to the power play, so they're up 3-2 at this point, and now they're given a chance to really blow it open. Kucherov blasts one wide. There's a shorthanded break for Formenton. It was defended very nicely without taking a penalty. That power play's killed off. The Senators then get a power play of their own. The Bolts kill that off. Bolts press with 4 minutes left, and Perry scores at 16:08 from Maroon and McDonough. So they set it up, and pretty early in that setup, Perry gets the goal, puts them up 4-2. Senators get a late power play, which is killed off, and we go to the third period. Power play for the Sens in the third period. This was their final one, too. Vasilevsky denies Tkachuk. It's killed off. The Bolts press at 8 minutes, and eventually they score. It's Sergachev from point and Kucherov at 9:02. That makes it 5-2. Formenton and Cirelli were unfriendly. Good shutdown, I thought, by the Bolts in this game, too. Late Sens power play. They had shots, but down by 3. So your final score is 5-2 for Tampa. They go to 35-11-6. They do pass Florida. The Ottawa Senators 19-28-5 with the loss. Your 3 stars, point, Sergachev, and Kucherov. Shots 7-6 Ottawa in the first, 12-8 Tampa in the second, 12-4 Ottawa in the third. I don't know how many of those were really dangerous. Final shots 27-22 for Ottawa. Power plays, both teams had 4 power plays. Ottawa had no goals. Tampa Bay had 1. So Ottawa's power play has been really struggling their last 10-plus games, and it's not better tonight. Hits 28-27 for Tampa. Murray saves 17 out of 22. Vasilevsky saves 25 out of 27. It's the worst stat line for Matt Murray in a little while. So, yeah, rough night overall for Ottawa. All right, moving along. Edmonton. Pretty efficient game for Edmonton and for Koskinen. So we've had the discussion with Edmonton. We've had the discussion with goaltending. And meanwhile, Koskinen over the last week and a half, any game he's in, he's excellent. So it's Koskinen versus Hart in this one. Early power play for the Oilers. That's killed off. The Oilers press at 5 minutes. The shots are 3-2 for the Flyers, 8 minutes into this. Hyman misses one wide. Lindblom can't bury one from in close. We get a power play for the Flyers. Farabee's denied during that. And then we get a delay of game call. So we get a 5-on-3 for 51 seconds. Really strong penalty kill for the Oilers. kills that off. The Oilers then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Draisaitl from Nurse and McDavid at 17:41. So it's 1-0 Oilers after one, second period. Hart saves on Draisaitl, and then he denies Ryan as well. The Oilers get a power play. That's killed off. The Oilers get a fourth power play. Strong penalty kill by the Flyers, though, and it's killed off. So while they allow the power play goal here, the rest of their penalty kills were pretty good. JVR can't bury one on a rush. Farabee had a wraparound that wouldn't go. And late in the period, Yamamoto scores to make it 2-0 for the Oilers from Draisaitl and Bouchard at 15:10. The Oilers then press for another. They get their fifth power play, but again, a strong penalty kill comes through for them, and it kills that minute 40, and then it kills the 20 seconds to start the third period as well. But the Flyers are down 2-0, so good penalty kill is great, but they need goals. The shots were only 3 apiece at 6.5 minutes, as the Oilers did a good job of keeping them out of their zone and keeping those dangerous chances away. JVR is a net feed that wouldn't go. Halfway through the period, the shots are 6-3 for the Oilers. So again, Philly's not hitting the net at that point. Nurse has a blast that deflects wide. McEwen's then denied from in close when the Flyers were getting opportunities. Atkinson can't bury one as the Flyers press. They did pull the goalie. Farabee's denied. There was then a goal line stand by Koskinen with a bunch of Flyers around the net. And then McDavid hits the empty net from Draisaitl and Hyman at 18 minutes and 20 seconds. Your final score in this one's 3-0. The Oilers 30-21-3 with the loss. Philadelphia 16-27-10. So for the Oilers, they're all 3 stars, Draisaitl, Koskinen, and Yamamoto. I'm sure there will be those who cut this down and say, well, it's Philadelphia, so what do you expect? You know what? It's a successful road trip for them thus far. And a shutout victory is a shutout victory, especially for a team that we've talked about their goaltending and their defense. The goaltending was pretty good tonight. The shots favor Philadelphia in every period. 13-10 in the first, 12-11 in the second, 14-11 in the third. Final shots 39-32 for Philadelphia. Power plays, Edmonton 1 for 5, Philadelphia 0 for 2. Hits 27-19 for Philadelphia. Koskinen saves all 39 shots for the shutout. Fantastic game for him. Hart saves 29 out of 31. He quietly had a very good game as well. But yeah, there was no goal support for Carter Hart tonight. All right, moving along. New Jersey. So the Devils coming off of that win over Vancouver, and they had a lot of momentum at the start of this game, and then it sort of goes away. So it's Dawes versus Merzlikins. Dawes starts for the second night in a row. There's an early power play for the Devils. A goal is eventually credited to Jack Hughes. Originally it was credited to Hischier, but it's credited to Hughes. Last I saw, it's still shown as unassisted at 54 seconds. Jenner then fires one wide on a break. The shots, 5 minutes into this, are 6-2 for the Devils. So they come out very, very well in this game. Bastian's denied. Elvis holds on during that little run there. Janssen has a rush chance that's saved. It's all Devils at this point in the game. The Devils press at 8.5 minutes. They were up to 11 shots to just 3 for Columbus. Columbus kind of under siege there, and Elvis keeping a minute. The dislike, after an Elvis save starts to show up, we get Bastian and Bayreuther are kind of going at it with one another. And then at 13:08, Columbus gets on the board. It's Christensen with his first NHL goal from Sillinger and Domi, and then Columbus is looking for the lead, and they get it. At 17:35, Bjorkstrand puts them up. So Columbus is ahead 2-1 at that point. Devils get a power play. We then get 52 seconds of 4-on-4. Dawes saves a Voracek rush chance. Everything gets killed off there. We go to the second period. Columbus has a 10-second 5-on-3, and off of a face-off, they score. So during the 5-on-3, it's Jenner from Laine and Voracek at 46 seconds. So Laine's on the board there. Dawes denies Danforth at the end of that power play, so it could have been worse. Laine with a net feed, that's blocked. The shots are 6-1 Columbus at 6 minutes. So as good as New Jersey was in the first, that's how good Columbus was in the second. Zacha with a rush chance, that deflects out. Hughes with a backhand, that's saved and held. And then Hischier gets the game a little bit closer. He scores from Severson and McLeod at 16 minutes, and it was really a fast break goal. They couldn't take that one away from him. Columbus then gets a power play the next shift, but New Jersey does kill that off. So after 2 periods, the score is 3-2. It's a close game. Early in the third period, Laine scores what would prove to be the winner to make it 4-2 from Jenner and Carlson. So Laine with a goal and an assist, he picks up where he left off in February. March, it looks like could be another big month for him. Hughes then had a net drive that was defended. The Devils get a power play. During said power play, they do not score, but after that, they do, in that Zacha gets a goal from Mercer and Hamilton at 7:07. Voracek then has a chance that's saved and held. Boquist with a net feed, that wouldn't go. Jansson's robbed on the doorstep. They pull the goalie with more than 2 minutes left, and then in the final minute, they get a 6-on-4 due to a Columbus penalty. But Columbus, they have a couple of shot blocks there, and they hold on to it. They win this one 4-3. They go to 28-25-1. For New Jersey, they're 19-30-5. And it's the second half of a back-to-back, and you could see they were pretty tired by the end of it. Shots in the first period, 16-9, New Jersey in the first. 13-8, Columbus in the second. Both teams had 9 shots in the third. Final shots, 33-31 for New Jersey. Power plays, New Jersey 1 for 4, Columbus 1 for 3. Hits, 30-5 for Columbus. I did a double take when I saw that. The app doesn't always give the most accurate. Is that 30-5? 5? Anyways, I assume they're all Bastion. Dawes with 27 saves on 31 shots. Merzlikin saves 30 out of 33. Pretty good in his return. And I'm sure Columbus fans are excited to see him back. And I believe this pulls them within 8 points of Washington. So keep an eye on that race. I still think it's probably too far for them to make up. But if Washington slides, and they could, right? It's possible. Next up, Carolina and Detroit. So the Detroit Red Wings below 500. They get back. Let's track how. It's Ranta versus Nedeljkovic in this one. Ned was sharp on an early screenshot by Carolina. Wings get a power play. That's killed off. Raymond tries to bank one in off of the goaltender. It's a good idea. Wings get another power play. The Canes killed that off. The shots halfway through the period are 7-4 in favor of the Wings, which makes sense. They'd had 2 power plays already to that point. Wings press with 8 minutes left, but then the Canes get a power play. They score on theirs. It's Aho from Trocheck and Natchez at 13:02. So Carolina gets the lead. And it only took 13 seconds on the power play as well, and it was a great pass by Trocheck to set it up. Canes then get another power play. That was killed off. And then in the last minute, there's a nice save on Teravainen. So we go to the second period. Bertuzzi has a break. That's saved. The Wings press. Wings get a power play. That was killed off. The shots, 7 minutes into the period, are 2 apiece. So it's a quiet start to the period between these two. Hronek then has a rush chance that's saved. But Rowney scores from Gagne and Ernie at 12 minutes. So all of a sudden, it's a 1-1 tie. Then Svechnikov fires wide on a rush as Carolina tries to answer. The Wings were limiting the Canes' chances really well. Carolina is a fast break team, and they're a dangerous team. And honestly, against Detroit tonight, I thought the Wings did a very good job of neutralizing that. Canes press with 1.5 minutes left, but coming out of the second period, it is 1-1. We go to the third. Wings press at 2 minutes, and eventually Rasmussen scores a goal through the 5-hole from Osterley and Zadina at 2:45. Canes then press. They're kept to the outside, but on their second shot of the period, they score. It's Stahl from Fast and Pesci at 7:05. So the Wings press for an answer. Larkin ends up hitting a post. Veleno was then denied in close on what was a rush opportunity for him. Ranta clears a dangerous Wings pass. They went for the home run pass, and he came out of his net and cleared it before the Wings player was able to get to the puck. Canes press, and Ned holds there. However, Stahl would get his second goal of the period. Only his 6th of the season, though, from Cole and Niederreiter at 16:22. So that ties up the game and was on a nice face-off win. Canes then press for another, but Larkin scores at 16:50. That ties the game up at 3. So the Stahl goal put them ahead 3-2. The Larkin goal ties up the game, and it was on a Shea turnover. Just, one of those plays that defensemen will make those plays, and it happens. And the Wings then press for the lead. Raymond has a net drive that's saved, so we go to overtime. Canes controlled early. Bertuzzi then had a break. That was saved. Post for Teravainen. Svechnikov then has a shot that deflects out. Fabry was denied on a break with 1:47 left. Too many Canes on the ice. The Wings get a power play, and eventually they score on it. It's Raymond from Bertuzzi and Sider with 8 seconds left in overtime at 4:52. So the Detroit Red Wings win in overtime, 4-3. They go to 24-24-6. They're back to 500. For Carolina, the loss in overtime drops their record to 37-11-5. 3 stars, Rasmussen, Raymond, and Stahl. And that's Jordan Stahl, not Mark Stahl. Shots, 11-8, Detroit in the first, 9-8, Detroit in the second, 14-13, Detroit in the third, and in the overtime, 7-1 for Detroit. So again, they did a good job of outshooting Carolina and outchancing them. Final shots 41-30 for Detroit. Power plays, Carolina 1 for 2, Detroit 1 for 4. Hits 19-18 for Detroit. Ronta saves 37 out of 41. Nedeljkovic saves 27 out of 30. He had a good night against his former team. That being said, I need to change boards. Now, Calgary. So the Flames are, it's impressive to watch, isn't it? This is what, 16 wins out of 19. They're in that range right now. It was Markstrom versus Talbot, early power play for the Flames, and they score on it. It's these good early starts for Calgary that just the confidence is up. They play really well with the lead. It's Tkachuk from Lindholm and Toffoli at 112 as Toffoli starts to really integrate himself well with the Flames. The Wild then get a power play. That's killed off. Markstrom was sharp on an Addison shot from the point that was a little more dangerous than it might have looked. Shots are 6-5 for the Wild with 8.5 minutes left, but they're behind. And then they're behind 2-0 as Mangiapane scores from Backlund and Coleman at 12:42. The Wild get a power play. It's killed off. Special teams were a big part of this tonight. Then we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. We end up going to the second period with Calgary ahead 2-0. The shots 5 minutes into that second period are 5-1 for Calgary. So again, they're playing very, very well on the road. It's interesting because, you know, this year has been a matter of them playing well on the road, then they don't play well at home. Now they've played really well at home. Now they're playing well. If they can keep this up and play well on both home ice and away, they should win the division. So Lindholm, or not yet. Toffoli has a rush chance that's blocked. Getting ahead of myself. Foligno scores to get Minnesota on the board from Kaprizov at 8:32, and he scored that on a rush. And while they're still celebrating that, Calgary scores again. It's Lindholm scoring his first in a couple of games, so he'd gone cold. Now he heats up again. I'm kidding. From Tkachuk and Gaudreau at 8:53. The Wild then press with 7 minutes left. Things get kind of scrummy after a Markstrom save. These teams don't like each other. Wild come out of that with a power play. We then get a 4-on-4 followed by a Flames power play. There's a shorthanded chance for Kulikov that wouldn't go. Everything gets killed off. Sturm was denied as the Wild press, and with 1:03 left, the Flames get a power play. So they don't score before the end of the period, so it rolls over into the third, and they score. At 33 seconds into the third period, it's Toffoli on the power play from Gaudreau and Anderson, and it is a perfect tip by Toffoli on a very nice pass from Gaudreau that makes it happen. And then the Wild at a tip shot, miss high, as now they're down 4-1. Lindholm with a rush chance, fired high as well. The shots are 3-1 for the Flames at 5 minutes. The Wild then get a power play. That was killed off. There's a press by the Wild with 8.5 minutes left. The Flames, though, aren't giving them a lot of room. Really, really not. Early goalie pull by the Wild because that's Dean Evison's way. With 3:57 left, the Flames ice it, looking for an empty net goal. Lucic then had an empty net attempt. That was blocked. Eventually, it is Backlund scoring the empty net goal to make it a 5-1 lead from Mangiapane at 17:30. And that's your final score. Calgary goes to 32-14-6 with the win. Minnesota 31-17-3 with the loss. Minnesota's losing a lot of games right now, so they'll be glad not to see Calgary for a bit. 3 stars are Lindholm, Markstrom, and Toffoli. Your shots, 12-9 Minnesota in the first, 10 apiece in the second, 11-8 Minnesota in the third. Final shots, 33-27 for Minnesota. Power plays, 2 for 3 for the Flames, 0 for 4 for Minnesota. So special teams play a role in this. Hits, 48-34 for Minnesota. Physical game. Markstrom saves 32 out of 33. Not a shutout, but close. Talbot saves 22 out of 26. And I don't know that this game today changes anything that I had to say in the Minnesota video earlier today. I don't know that anything's been changed. If anything, I think it just makes you, if you're a Wild fan, you have to be thinking, we could go out in the first round, couldn't we? All right, so that being said, let us discuss Montreal and Winnipeg. And a game that, well, at one point I thought I might not have enough room on the board. So it's Montembeault versus Hellebuck. Early chance for the Habs, some good back and forth, and some misplays. Some turnovers going on for both teams. I thought, oh, there's some turnovers happening. And eventually, that leads to some scoring. He gets Svechnikov first, who all of a sudden, Evgeny Svechnikov is playing very, very well. He is not as good as his brother at scoring goals, but he's started scoring at a better rate, at least over the last couple of weeks, right? I think he's got 3 goals in 4 games. Schmidt and Connor with the assists at 5:21. Great tip. Jets press for more, and they get it. It's Nate Schmidt. Scoring from Dubois and Svechnikov at 5:57. So Svechnikov with a goal and an assist already. Canadians get a power play. It then becomes a 4-on-4. At 8:56, Lowry scores from DeMello. So 8:46, I should say. So Lowry, he stays hot. He's been scoring a lot of goals lately. And then at 9:13, it's Scheifele during the 4-on-4 just before the power play would start from Dubois and Connor. So 4-on-4 apparently works for the Jets. They scored twice during that. That power play doesn't score. And then Anderson answers. He scores from Petrie at 11:18. And that's one that Hellebuck should have saved. And then the momentum switch takes place here. Shots are 6 apiece with 6 minutes left, meaning that 4 shots for the Jets. They only had 6 shots with 6. So there's a lot of goals going in for the Jets there early, right, with very few shots. So the Habs get another power play. They score on this one. It's Anderson from Caulfield and Suzuki at 17 minutes. The Habs then press for another, and they get it. This time it's Lehkonen from Evans at 18:28, and it's a 5-hole goal. The Habs then get a power play with 28.5 seconds left. It becomes a 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 28 seconds. A lot of power plays in this game. So coming out of the first period, it's 4-3 for Winnipeg. And it really looked like this one could end up being another 10-7. It doesn't get there, but kind of close. Second period, Morrissey has a blast that's saved. Everything gets killed off. The Jets had a 3-on-2 that misfired. And then Josh Anderson gets the hat trick from Poehling at 4:08. So it's a tie game. Anderson with 3 out of 4 goals there. And so 4 for Winnipeg, 4 for Montreal. What's going to happen next? So Dubois has a chance that nearly restores the lead. The Habs get a power play. That's killed off. 4:19 left. The Jets get another power play. Pitlick has a penalty shot during that power play, and he misses the net on it. And then Kopp scores on that power play from Pionk and Stastny at 17:17. So that is just crazy. Pitlick, if that penalty shot goes in, that would have given Montreal the lead. Instead, Winnipeg gets the lead. Caulfield then has a rush chance that he fires high. But we go to the third period with the score 5-4 for Winnipeg, which means the scoring sort of settled down. So the Jets 16-0-1, leading after 2 periods coming into this game. Jets have an early power play, and they score on it. Scheifele from Wheeler and Connor at 2:46. The Jets get another power play not long after that. They score on that one too. At 5:49, it's Dubois from Scheifele and Wheeler. So Scheifele with a couple of points tonight. And a lot of guys had a couple of points tonight for Winnipeg. The Habs get a power play. That's killed off. Gallagher kicks one in. It's not just that he kicked one either. He kicked the puck twice. Then they reviewed it, and I'm like, what? He kicked it twice? It's pretty clear that he kicked the first one, so he would have had to kick it. So, yeah, they reviewed it, and they go, yeah, apparently it's a kick. And initially they'd called it a kick, too. So, I know they have to review it, but to me it was pretty obvious. It took a long time for them to decide it, too. We then get a power play for the Habs shortly after. It's killed off. I do feel bad for Gallagher. He hasn't scored 5-on-5 since, the 60s. It seems like it's been a while. The Jets go back to the power play, and because Montreal's penalty kill took the night off after 17-17 of the second period, Stastny scores from Lowry and Kopp at 17:26. Makes it 8-4. So this is an odd game. 4 Winnipeg goals, 4 Montreal goals, 4 Winnipeg goals. 8-4. They go to 24, 21, and 9. Montreal drops to 13, 34, and 7 with the loss. Now they might miss the playoffs. 3 stars are Dubois, Anderson, and Kopp. Shots favor Montreal in the first 14-6. A period they came out losing 4-3 in. Winnipeg outshoots them 11-10 in the second and 13-11 in the third. Final shots 35-30 for Montreal. Power plays Montreal 1 for 6. Winnipeg 4 for 6. So 4 for 6. Hits 31-17 for Winnipeg. Montembeault saved 16 out of 23. He's replaced by Hammond, who saved 6 out of 7. Hellebuck saved 31 out of 35. I thought Hellebuck was shaky, and yet gets the win. So this is one of those things where Winnipeg gets a win for Hellebuck when he has a shaky night. Now next game he'll probably go out and shut out the other team and play great. And we'll be like, hey, it's because they bailed him out in the last game. So he bails them out in this one. That is often how things happen with hockey. All right, next up. Islanders were so close tonight, and they kind of made me a believer through parts of this game that they could get it done. But it's the Islanders. It's 2021-2022. This season is not their season. So it's Sorokin versus Kemper and Jack Johnson. They had a nice ceremony for his 1,000th game, which was fun. And I mean, the fact that Jack Johnson has made it to 1,000 games despite all of his detractors, despite all the complaints people have made about him through most of his career. I think it's remarkable. I salute him for getting to 1,000 games. I don't think a bad defenseman gets to 1,000 games. You don't have to be a top four. You just have to be able to stay in the league. So kudos to him for staying in the league. Early press by the Abs, and eventually they score. McKinnon from Makar and Taves at 3:23. And when that went in, I thought, here we go. You know, the Islanders probably tired on a road trip. The Abs, you know, still ticked off because they lost a game against Boston a week and a half ago. So yeah, the shots are 6-3 for the Avs at 7.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Islanders. It was unsuccessful, but right after it ends, Pulock scores from Parise and Wahlstrom at 10:03. So that ties the game, and it let the Avs know the Islanders came to play tonight. The Avs get a power play. That was killed off. There's a press by the Avs with 6 minutes left. McKinnon's denied. Landeskog was denied as well. There's a late Beauvillier rush that was saved, but we go to the second period with it tied at 1. Sorokin saves a wraparound chance there. The Avs press, and eventually they score. It's Taves with his 10th goal of the season from Burakovsky and Makar at 3:54. Devon Taves is having a fantastic year. Pajot would answer, though, at 4:39, so they don't even keep the lead for a minute from Parise and Clutterbuck. So Zach Parise with a couple of helpers. I still have to make a Parise video, so he's racking up points while he's waiting. The Islanders then press for the lead. Palmieri's denied. The Avs press at the half, but at 12:23, the Islanders get their first lead of the game. It's Palmieri from Green and Pajot. So it's 3-2 for the Islanders. In fact, the shots are 11-7 for the Islanders with 4.5 minutes left. They were out playing Colorado at home. The Islanders press. They draw a power play. That was killed off by the Avs, which was a very important kill. So we go to the third period with the Islanders up 3-2. And the Islanders play-by-play and the announcers and Shannon Hogan and all of them kind of saying, yeah, you got to watch the Avs in the third period. They're kind of lethal, so it's great that they're up, but can they hold it? The answer is no. So O'Connor has a rush chance that's saved. The Avs get a power play and they score it. It's Landeskog, who's on a heater. He's playing great. From Kadri and Taves at 4:17. That one went off Sorokin's glove. Shots are 11-0 for the Avs 6 minutes into this. So it's a tie game, but it doesn't feel like a tie game. Goal is called, but it's reviewed and it's no goal. It didn't actually cross the line for the Islanders. So again, that's one of those bad luck things for the Islanders, or, you know, it's really good defensive play by the Avs. The Avs crowd cheered. It's as close as it gets. So that puck looked in it, but you could tell overhead said no, it didn't quite cross the line. It's almost exactly the same as the puck that Matthews pulled off the line the other night. So the Avs crowd cheered, as I said, and then they had another reason to cheer at 12:48 when Burakovsky scored from Kadri, and it was Pulock throwing the puck up the boards. Pulock's one of the most underrated defensemen in the league. It is a move that he's not going to be happy with himself over. And that gives the Avs the lead. You don't want to hand them the puck and hand them the lead. Avs then get a power play. That was killed off. Nelson with a near miss wide as the Islanders then press looking for the lead. The Avs with a 2-on-1. Near miss for JT Compher there. The Islanders press with the goalie pulled, and eventually there's an empty net goal. It's Eric Johnson scoring at 19:17. That ends it. Colorado comes back. They do get the victory 5-3 over the Islanders. They go to 40-14-4. So they have 84 points right now in 54 games. It's ridiculous. The Islanders 20-22-8 with the loss. So the Avs keep rolling. The Islanders just keep losing these games. They now have 32 left. They have to play in 45 days. Feels like it. Anyways, that being said, I need to change boards one more time. San Jose. San Jose is Vegas is a bad matchup for the Sharks. Tonight's another example. It was Reimer versus Leonard. Vegas wearing the gold helmets. You have to wear the gold helmets with the gold jerseys. Listen, Vegas, if you're listening, and if Vegas isn't listening, go out of the room, get a Vegas management guy. If you live in Vegas, they got to be around there somewhere. Just go and get George McPhee or Kelly McCrimmon, or get Peter DeBoer, bring him in close. The gold helmets should be worn with the gold jerseys. It doesn't match the gray jerseys. Put them with the gold jerseys. Put them with the gold jerseys. Thank you. Kolasar with the gold helmet scores from Howden at 2:16, and it was the second shot of the game for Vegas, which of course led me to think, uh-oh. So the Sharks did press at 7 minutes. Milosh has a shot that's blocked. Vegas with a rush chance after that. The Golden Knights then had some pressure of their own with 7.5 minutes left. The Sharks are pinned down and exhausted during that shift too. White Cloud was denied in close. Dzingel with a whiff on an open net as well. So, yeah. Pressed by Vegas in the closing minute. Vegas outplays San Jose badly in the first, but the score is only 1-0. And then something went on with Reimer, and he apparently suffered a lower body injury during the first period because he doesn't come out for the second. So Sawchenko is in net for the San Jose Sharks. So, yeah, Reimer's hurt. Gregor would score from Bonino and Cogliano at 1:53. So the weird thing with this is that Bonino whiffs on the chance, and because he whiffed on the chance, Gregor had a better shot. So because Leonard's expecting the Bonino chance, he's not expecting it to be whiffed on, go over to his left and have Gregor put it in the net, and that's what happened. So tough break for Leonard there, right? Power play then for Vegas, that was killed off. Shots are 4-2 for Vegas at 7.5 minutes. Dodonov with a rush chance, that saved. Vegas presses. Meyer has a chance that saved. Stevenson was denied. Sawchenko was sharp. I really do like the kid. I think he's a good goaltender. Dodonov blasts one high, and then Riley Smith scores from Marchessault Carlson at 13:56. So that puts Vegas back in front. Meyer then had a chance saved as San Jose presses to tie it up. San Jose had a 3-on-2 that didn't quite connect towards the end of the period. And after 2 periods, it's 2-1 for Vegas. Third period, Carrier is denied early on. Marchessault can't bury one, but then Smith does on that same play at 4:45 from Marchessault and Carlson. So the shots are 6-1 for Vegas at 8.5 minutes. Vegas is in full control. Ron Bjerg was getting chances. He really wanted a goal. He had a few opportunities. And then, you put out VL. VL does the VL stuff that happens, and there's going to be penalty out of it. So you end up with a 4-on-4. He takes somebody with him because it's no fun without a pal. So, yeah, VL, it's what he does. Goalie pull with 3:22 left by San Jose. Merkley ends up with a net feed near miss there, but they can't come back. Your final score is 3-1 for Vegas. They go to 30-20-4 with the win. San Jose 24-24-6 with the loss, so they fall back to 500. Your 3 stars are Smith, Marchessault, and Carlson. The misfit line is your 3 stars. Shots 11-4 Vegas in the first, 10-6 Vegas in the second, 10-7 Vegas in the third. They were the better team throughout. Final shots 31-17 for Vegas. San Jose had no power plays. Vegas had one, didn't score on it. Hits are 34-15 for San Jose. Your goaltenders. So Reimer started the game. He saved 10 out of 11. And then Sawchenko saved 18 out of 20. 10 out of 11 were saved by Reimer, and then 18 out of 20 were saved by Sawchenko. And at the other end, Leonard had a quiet night with 17 shots. He saved 16. So for Vegas, it's a big win because based on Edmonton's result, they dropped down to the number 2 wildcard spot, which the Colorado Avalanche broadcast crew thought was, they chuckled over it. So, right? Because Vegas is close to that bottom of the West in terms of the power play, the playoff line, and I think it's catching people off guard. I don't think people pay as much attention to the day-to-day as they do just where their team is at. So what's gone on with Vegas, I think, has surprised some people. That being said, we're going to move along to the final game of the night. Boston, they were so close to getting a point. So close. And yet, it doesn't happen. It's Ullmark versus Gibson. And Foligno versus Carrick. So not that far into the game, Foligno has a fight with Carrick, which I thought was funny because that's the first time I've ever had a game where I've put the goalies and then underneath a fight. Immediately just fight right after. Shots are 2. Doesn't mean that it's never happened to fight off the whistle, just I've never had it written in that form. Shots are 2-1 for the Bruins at 5 minutes. It was not an exciting start to the game. The Ducks get a power play and they score on it. The Bruins penalty kill was a problem tonight, or the Ducks power play woke up. Either way, right? If you're a Bruins fan, you're going to be like, man, the penalty kill tonight. But if you're a Ducks fan, you're saying, man, the power play was good. So it's Raquel from Getzlaff and Zegras at 6:33. The Bruins get stuck on 2 shots for a while until Foligno gets the 3rd shot and it goes in from Carlo and Nosek at 8:15. Ducks try to answer. The Bruins press with 9.5 minutes left. I thought there was good defense by both teams. Not a lot of shots. Carlo breaks up a 2-on-1, but then Lindstrom scores at 17:53 on a rebound from Fowler and Silverberg. And then Henrique, in the final minute of the period at 19:03, he scores from Terry and Getzlaf. So it's 3-1 Ducks after one. Second period, Bruins have some turnover issues early in the period, which I know they were having in the first as well. They were also having issues with Ullmark kicking rebounds out in front of the net. You have to know that's going to happen. As a defenseman, you have to know where they're going to end up going and get those cleared out. Power play for the Bruins, it becomes a 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off there. The Ducks have some momentum. Grzelcyk has his stick break, which allows the puck to come out when the Bruins were pressing. The Bruins had, well, there was some stick breakage going on there. I wonder about that. Like, these sticks are really expensive the players use, and they break a lot. So I guess it's just when you hit the puck at 90 miles an hour, sticks are going to break. So the shots were 5-4 with the Bruins with 9 minutes left. And then Carlo scores from Nosek and Foligno on the 6th shot of the period for the Bruins at 11:15. The Bruins then press on a turnover. Gibson makes saves. The Bruins were controlling a lot of the play late, but they go into the third period down by 1. They tie it early in the third. It's Pasternak from Hall and Howla at 1:52. So it's tied the game. Bruins are then looking for the lead. Bergeron has a backhand that's held. Shattenkirk is then denied in close when the Ducks get opportunities. Terry has a rush chance that's saved. Pasternak with a net drive, that wouldn't go. Henrique is denied. And then with 45.9 seconds left, the Bruins go to the box. Can't be doing that. So the Ducks with the power play. Anaheim calls a timeout to come up with a play. Whatever they discussed works. Zegras. I guess the idea was they probably just get it to Zegras and put a bunch of just arrows. He scores from Drysdale and Getzlaf at 19:38. So Getzlaf with a couple of, or 3 helpers for Getzlaf. And yeah, so the Ducks win this one 4-3. Boston doesn't get it to overtime. I was thinking, at least get it to overtime and get that point. They're 32-18-4 with the loss. The Ducks 26-21-9 with the win. 3 stars are Zegras, Silverberg, and Foligno. I'm kind of surprised Getzlaf doesn't get one of the stars there. Shots 9-7 Anaheim in the first, 14-7 Boston in the second, 13-12 Boston in the third. Final shots 34-28 for Boston. Boston only had 1 power play. They didn't score on it. Anaheim was 2 for 3 on the power play. Hits 24-23 for Anaheim. Ullmark saves 24 out of 28. Gibson saves 31 out of 34. And there you go. You guys are all caught up on tonight's games. And so for the Ducks with that win, it's one of those ones too where it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously as a Boston fan, I'd be cheering for Boston. But as a Canuck fan, the teams ahead of them that they wanted to see lose, none of them did. Vegas wins, Edmonton wins, Anaheim wins. So like because I know there's this hope that Vancouver gets in, but they need the other teams to keep playing badly and other teams to not get those wins. And tonight they just didn't have anybody helping them out. Other than, I guess, Calgary beating Minnesota, but Minnesota's still a ways ahead. All right, that being said, I'm all done for tonight. Let me know your thoughts regarding tonight's games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.